Hello everyone, it's Robin and welcome back to another Thrift Store Thursday. So this week is part 2 of my question and answer videos. I did part 1 last week and I'm going to be finishing up the questions this week, as well as sharing photos that were sent in by viewers of their thrifted finds and how they have used them. That will be towards the end of the video. But before we get started on the questions and answers today, many of you have noticed that I have not been posting this week. I am perfectly fine. I appreciate your guys' concern for me. I had a bit of a, how would you describe it? A klutzy moment last Friday. So I've been a little laid up. But today I'm happy to report that I am moving around much, much better. I will talk about that more in depth tomorrow, but I don't want to waste time today talking about it for Thrift Store Thursday. Tomorrow I will have a day in the life video, which I am shooting today to share with you guys tomorrow, and I will explain the whole thing. So, if you're wondering where I've been, tune in tomorrow and I will let you know what's been going on and the craziness that has ensued around here. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into this week's Thrift Store Thursday. So let's go ahead and figure out which is the first question. Let's see. So the first question is, when did your passion for all things well-loved and vintage begin, and how did you manage to keep your living space nice when your children were smaller? I've always been a lover of history. It was my favorite subject in school. I loved all the movies and all the books that I could get my hands on that were either, had to do with history and that sort of thing. And when I was growing up, I was really loved the time frame of like the 1900s, like the 1920s. My favorite video when I was growing up was Pollyanna. If any of you have watched Pollyanna or like The Music Man, those are my two favorite. I cannot tell you how many times I watched those two movies, and I love the clothes and I love their houses, and I was just obsessed with it. So that's always kind of been in the background. So then once we moved to this house, we moved into this house 17 years ago, and then not long after that I started garage selling more frequently, and then once the kids went to school, I started going to the thrift stores. And at that point, when the kids started going to school on a full-time basis, I really started to get into home decor. And I loved the country style, or it was called country back then, and it kind of morphed into farmhouse style. But I was always on the minimalistic side of that curve, if that makes any sense. So my enjoyment of the country farmhouse look sort of pushed me towards the vintage side of things, where I wanted things that were chippy, got some texture, galvanized pails, anything that like are true, that you would find on an actual farm. That is what I was totally obsessed with. And of course that led me to my current love of dishes. I was obsessed with finding ironstone and things that were crazed and brown, stuff like that. So that is basically where my roots of vintage things started, and then from there it's kind of spiraled and gotten much, much bigger and much more fun. As for when my children were smaller, I don't know that the house was nicer, but I think I found it much easier to keep on top of things when they were younger. Because when they were younger, they needed more, adult supervision more often, you know what I mean? Like 24 hours a day. So they were always within sight of me, whether I'd be playing with them or I'd be in the same room working on something else. I found that keeping the house clean at that point, I was more in the moment of being with them, if you know what I mean. I might not actually being with them, but we were in the same room, around each other more often than we are these days. I find that it's actually more difficult as the kids have gotten older and they have more activities that bring them out of the house. I don't have nearly as much help, because when the kids are younger, they always want to help out, which is awesome. But as they get older, they don't want to help out, and it becomes a struggle to get them to help out. And sometimes you just do it yourself because it's not worth the struggle or the stress at the moment. I'm sure you've all been there if you have older children. But yeah, but also there's that factor of it. There's also the other factor of I don't need to be there watching them 24 hours a day like I used to have to be. So I have more freedom to go do things that I want to do. And most of the time, those things are to go work on projects that I want to do for my house, which can take a lot of extra time sometimes. So things like, cleaning up the kitchen after dinner doesn't get done until the next morning because I want to go and put another coat of paint on something. That sort of thing. So in that way, I don't think my house is as clean as it was when the kids were younger. So, yeah, it's different as your kids grow. The style of your straight neatness of your house also kind of changes and fluctuates a little bit. So I have found that very interesting. I always thought as my kids got older, it'd be easier and easier to keep my house constantly spotless. But it's just a pipe dream. I've given that up a long time ago. So the next question is, how many children do you have? How old are they? And are they into thrifting or crafting? All right, so I have 3 children. My oldest is 20. My middle child is 17. And my youngest is 15. Most of my kids are okay with thrifting. My oldest doesn't really want to go thrifting, but if I bring things home from the store, I'll bring her home I brought her home a few desk chairs over the years and stuff, and desks and stuff, and clothes, and she's totally fine with it. She doesn't necessarily want to go look for it herself, though, which is fine. My other 2 daughters absolutely love thrifting, and they are really obsessed with it, just like I am. My youngest daughter, I think, is the one that is the most into vintage things. She's totally into 60s stuff. She's got quite a few things. She's got an old phone, a boombox, an old TV. She's got camcorders and video, Walkmans and all that kind of stuff. So she's just really into that kind of style right now, which I think is totally awesome. And yeah. And my middle daughter is also into vintage things too. She loves collecting vintage silverware and vintage knives, what do you call them? Pocket knives, those kind of things. So those are her 2 big things that she is always looking for. As for crafting, my youngest is very much a crafter and a baker. Those are the 2 things she really likes to do. And then my oldest 2 are very much into art. Whether it into drawing specifically, whether it be old school with a pencil and paper, whether it be painting, watercolors, or digital art. They're both really huge into digital art, and they're both going to school right now to get some sort of art degree. So yeah, there's some creativity going on in the house for sure. All right, so my next question is, how far away is Nicole North Garden? And does your husband ever say, that's enough stuff when you bring home your treasures? I think I might have mentioned this already, but Nicole, we're only about 35, 40 minutes away from each other, not very far at all. So yeah, that's nice. I like that. And then does your husband ever, and then to the second part, I've only ever had my husband tell me to slow down one time. And that was actually quite recently because right before my whole house purge project, my basement for probably 6 months before that had become my dumping ground for anything and everything that I didn't want to put away right away. It got so bad that it was like Hoarderville down there. If you go and see and watch my the family room purging week, you will see what I'm talking about. And at that point, it had already been cleaned once. I mean, it just had got really bad really fast again. Because I don't know why I got so out of control, but things just really got out of control. He's like, we have got to do something about this down here. So yeah, for the most part, my husband is pretty cool with what I bring home. He'll of course roll his eyes saying, oh, why do you need another one of those? Or don't you already have a white plate? But he knows better than that, because they're all so different. But yeah, for the most part, I don't have a problem with it. And he's very understanding. A lot of times I'll bring home stuff. I've had a few times where I've brought home stuff, and he's like, really? You bought this? And I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. Mostly when I bring home a new sofa or something like that. He never understands why I bring home vintage sofas, but I just like them. So yeah. What color are your living and dining room walls? These walls in my kitchen and my living room and dining room are all the same color, and I have it down the hallway and in my entryway as well as into my main bathroom. And it is called Cottage White. It is a color by Pittsburgh Paint. I got it at Menards like years ago. I can't even remember when I actually put this color on my walls. It has to have been like at least 5 or 6 years ago at least, if not more. So I don't even know if they have that color anymore, but it's just like a creamy white color with a slight tinge of yellow undertone. So I didn't want something that looked really yellow, and I didn't want something that looked really brown undertones, and I found that this was like the perfect combination of, you know, creamy white with a little bit of an undertone of yellow, because I do like yellow. Before I had this color on the wall, I actually had a really pretty yellow on my walls, because I really like yellow on walls. I don't know why, I just do. But anyways, so yeah, I am sorry I can't tell you that it's a color that you can still get. I am not sure. If you actually are interested in like the color combination, let me know. I think I still have that on one of my paint cans downstairs. I could look that up for you. Just let me know if you're interested in that. Like if you want the exact color, I could probably find it for you. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. Alright, so the next question is, how do you store items when not in use? Most of my dishes are stored in the 2 hutches that are in my living room. I have the corner hutch, which is mostly platters, plates, linens, silver items, stuff like that. And then I have 2 shelves on the bottom of my hutch that's also in my living room on the other side of the room. That has a lot of things, like the little things like the creamers, the pitchers, small plates, small bowls, and that sort of stuff. I do have 2 other small cabinets, one at the top of my steps, and that has got some of my milk glass collection in that I'm not using at the moment. And then I also have another cabinet, like a side table cabinet in my dining room, and that has the rest of, like, that holds my flameless candles and more milk glass. The rest of it is stored down in my laundry room / storage room. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's down there. Mostly all the bigger stuff, like all my picture frames and paintings, all the little itsy bitsy things that I use for decorating, all of like my vases and containers, candlesticks, all that kind of stuff is all downstairs. So if you're really interested, you can go back and check out those weekly purge project videos and see in depth where I put everything. Alright, so moving on to the next question. This question has a lot of real quick little questions. The first one is, what is your favorite color? That would be red. What is my favorite meal? Ooh, I love pepperoni pizza, and I love steak and potatoes. Those are like my 2 favorite things, because my husband can make a mean steak and it is absolutely delicious. My favorite dessert, can I just say anything with chocolate? Like chocolate ice cream, chocolate cake, like French silk pie, anything like that. Those are all good. What is my favorite holiday? I of course love Christmas. I think everybody loves Christmas. But besides Christmas, my other favorite holiday is 4th of July. I love the patriotic colors. I love the food that goes with it. I love the fireworks. And I absolutely love the fact that most of the time when we celebrate 4th of July, it's just family. And we hang out and we have a picnic. We grill out. We play a fun, rousing round of croquet. And it is always a good time. And I really enjoy 4th of July quite a bit. What is my favorite TV show? Oh man. It used to be Downton Abbey, but sadly that is no longer around. I also like Call the Midwife. Other than like historical TV shows, I am really, really enjoying The Rookie right now and All Rise. Those are the 2 like current TV shows that are on right now. I like both of those. My favorite movie? Oh man. Favorite movies are really hard. Movies are really hard for me because I don't watch a lot of them. And most of the movies I do watch, I am disappointed with. You know what I mean? Because they all kind of seem the same to me. I don't know. I did enjoy the Downton Abbey movie. That was awesome. What is another movie that I like? Oh, I like older movies. Like, I could sit down and watch Holiday Inn, The Music Man, Pollyanna, what other ones? Seven Brides for Seven Sisters, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. What else? Oh, Bringing Up Baby. I love that. And I also love High Society. You know, I like older movies. And then my favorite Christmas movie of all time is Christmas in Connecticut and Holiday Inn. I think those are my two Christmas ones that I really, really love. Okay, so favorite actor. I don't really have a favorite current actor, but my favorite old-timey actor would be Barbara Stranswick, who is the actress who plays in Christmas in Connecticut. I love her. I love her style. I think she's awesome. So, yeah. What was my favorite subject in school? That was history. I loved history so much. Ooh, this next question is really fun. So, if you could choose a career besides the one that you currently have, what would it be? Okay, this sounds silly, but I would be a landscaper. I love working outside. I love doing like those heavy, you know, like wheelbarrowing stuff around, like moving dirt and moving rocks and like digging out holes. I love that kind of stuff. Like laying like bricks and all that kind of stuff. I love that so much. I really enjoy that. So that would be one thing that I would love to do. The other thing, like my dream job of all dream jobs, would be to run a campground, which is so weird. Oh no, I know it's weird, but I think that would be so much fun. Because one, you get to be outside almost all the time. And then, I don't know. I love the fact that campgrounds, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I go to a campground, I always remember that event of going to that campground and the funny things that happened during that camping trip. And it's a memory that I love. And I like the idea of being able to facilitate people's memories of having a great time with their family or their friends or whoever they went with. So being able to make a place where people would come to make memories, I think that would be so much fun. Plus the fact that, you know, it's outside, it has to do with being in the woods, which I love. So that would be the perfect place for me to work, as at a campground, or to run it, or either just to work at it. Probably don't want to run the whole thing, but I would love to work at a campground. I think that would be totally awesome. So I'm trying to talk my kids into like going into to forestry, you know, as a career. So then we can like open our own place, and I can run it, and they can like be the, you know, the wildlife preservation person on our our campground. I think that would be so much fun. Another thing too that would be really fun to be able to maybe incorporate into that campground area thing is to have like an event center where people could do weddings or, you know, parties or whatever. I think that would be really fun too, because then I could work in my gardens at the same time. So that would be fun. All right, moving on to the next question. Best vacation. The best vacation that I can remember from my childhood is when we went on a road trip. 2-week road trip from Wisconsin to Washington State and back again. And that was the best camping trip ever. We had so many adventures along the way. We went to Yellowstone. We started on Mount St. Helens. We got to see, you know, the Columbia River. We had some interesting things that happened along the way. And yeah, it was an adventure, and I will never forget it. So yeah, I like road trips. That was the best one I can remember. However, I did take a wonderful road trip with my sister and my brother a few years back. We road tripped out to LA for my sister-in-law's bridal shower. And that was a great trip too. So that was awesome. All right, so the next question is, which country would you love to travel to? I would love to go to Ireland. That is Ireland and Great Britain are the two places that I would really, really like to go. Moving on to the next question is, which object have you been looking for but still have not been able to find? Okay. This is sort of a new thing that I've been looking for. I haven't been looking for it for very long, but I am looking for a vintage mailbox that has a little, the lever, the little flap on the top that you can open, that's got the eagle emblem on the front of it, and then it's got the newspaper hook thing at the bottom. Do you know what I'm talking about? I know I've seen them when I was growing up. I haven't seen one since, but I'm looking for one of those mailboxes. And I would, hopefully one day I will find them. I used to have a few other mailboxes. I don't know if I still, I don't think I still have them. I think I got rid of them. I just had couple of regular mailboxes with the little flip top. I had a black one and a green one, and I loved them, but I never knew what to do with them, so I finally just got rid of them. But now I'm kicking myself for doing that. But yeah, I would really love a mailbox with a little flippy lid, with the eagle on the front, with a little hook for the newspaper on the bottom. If I ever find that, I'm totally buying it. I don't care how much it is. Next question is, what is your favorite collection? So probably my favorite large collections that I have that I enjoy are my Ironstone picture collection. I have quite a few of those. And then my vintage clocks. I really love clocks. And I have quite a few of those. As for a small collection, I don't know. I guess my new favorite collection that I've got only two of are vintage hand mirrors. I'm really liking that. And then I also have one vintage beaded purse. I can see both of those collections growing. I have found that just like the seasons, my favorites kind of change throughout the year. Certain times of the year, I like to bring out certain collections, and I just kind of go with that season, I think, and I think that's really fun. So I get to change things around a little bit, use things a little differently, use certain things in one part of the year, and I don't use them in the other part of the year. So things tend to look a little more fresh that way, I feel, in my house. But yeah, I have tons of collections, and I don't want to give any one of them up, if that makes sense. All right, so the next question is asking me how many daughters I have. I have 3 daughters. We talked about their ages a little bit ago. And do they live at home? Yes, they are all currently living at home. My oldest is in her first year of college, as is my second to youngest. And my middle child is in her last year of high school and her first year of college at the same time, simultaneously. They plan to stay with us for the 2-year degree that they're getting at the community college that they're at, and then from there they'll move on to another college. Whether that will be in the state of Minnesota or if they'll be somewhere else, I'm not sure at this point. How long have you and your hubby been married? I believe, I gotta do the math on that. Isn't that terrible? I can never remember. We are so bad about getting our, remembering our anniversary. We've never really, neither one of us has really been, into, celebrating our anniversary. Sometimes we won't realize that we've missed our anniversary by a couple weeks. We're like, oh, it's the end of September already. We're like, oh, we forgot our anniversary again. So, yeah. So, let's see. Oh, my Lord, we have been married for 23 years. Wow. Yeah. So, we were married in 1997. So, that would be 23 years. So, yeah, that is how long we've been married. And how did you meet? I think I might have answered this already. Basically, we met through mutual friends. He knew someone who I worked with. He asked her about me. And then eventually he talked to me. And, yeah, that's how we kind of got together. Next question is, your makeup always looks so great. What do you use? Oh my goodness, that is so sweet. Which is hilarious, really, if you knew how little I do of makeup. I normally try to keep things very simple. I use a powder foundation, I use a concealer, sometimes a blush, a bronzer for sure, it's a light bronzer, and then I use eyeshadow, and then what do you call this stuff on my eyebrows, because I have no eyebrows anymore. They're bleached out. What do you call that? A powder, brow powder Yeah, that makes sense. And a mascara, of course. If you're wondering specifics, I mostly always use the Too Faced powder foundation. I love this stuff. If I don't use the Too Faced, I'll use a Neutrogena powder foundation. Milani also has a good one, but they don't sell it in the stores anymore. You have to order it online, so I haven't been doing that. And then for eyeshadows, I love the Naked palettes. This is a Naked 3. But I have what I've had in the past 1, 2, and 3. The first one, I don't think they sell that anymore, but that was my all-time favorite. And then number 3 is my second choice for the Naked palettes. I don't think you can go wrong with these. Very neutral colors. And yeah, I really like those. Great pigmentation, all that great stuff. The other eyeshadow palette that I use all the time is the Too Faced Peach palette. I like this one too, but this one's got a little bit more different colors in it. And I basically use like the pinks and the browns. I very rarely go off the reservation with like there's a couple purples and there's like a green and then like this. Well, that looks blue on camera, but it's like a black color. But yeah, this is a really nice palette. I like this one right here. And these two right here are like my favorite browns. The pinks are nice too. But yeah, I was really surprised. This is the first time I've ever got like Too Faced eyeshadow, and I really like it. So I'll probably be branching out to more of their eyeshadow palettes if I ever need another one. But for the most part, these two take care of my needs. Other than one other thing that I love very, very much, like if I'm not filming or anything and I just need to go to the store, I will use the Wet n Wild's Walking on Eggshell palette. It's just like a 3 shadow one. It's got like a white brow color, a nice medium toned brown with just a little bit of shimmer to it, and then a champagne pink color that I use on my eyebrows. So I just do champagne pink all over my lid, a little bit of brown in the crease, some mascara, and some eyebrows, and I'm good to go. So that's basically my everyday look. Alright, so let's see, last question. We're to the last question, you guys. Oh my goodness. Alright, so when did you discover your talents, and when did they become your passion? Oh my goodness. I don't know how to answer that question, to tell you the truth. When did I discover my talents? I don't know. I think it's just kind of been a gradual learning process as I got into like wanting to decorate, and then, you know, just homemaking in general, just kind of, whether it be gardening or sewing or cooking or baking or decorating my house. It's all just kind of been a learning curve, and I enjoyed those. Well, I don't so much enjoy cooking so much, but I do enjoy baking. So those things, I kind of, you know, would spend a little extra time on them, and I would learn about them, and I would read about them a lot, and I would look at photos a lot of those kind of things. So I was kind of, and I would try to do those sort of things. So I think the more you know, research it a little bit and then try yourself, you learn to develop what you enjoy, especially for like decorating or for gardening, for example. So let me give you an example. When I am decorating, the way I decorate now, I would not have decorated like 10 years ago. I was nowhere near where I am now in terms of decorating. But as I worked on putting different displays together, I learned to know how I like displays put together, if that makes sense. So when you go to start making a new display or a new event, you know, a new look for a room, you kind of already have it in the back of your mind, kind of the guidelines that you personally like. Like, do you like something large in the middle and then 2 things off to the side that are smaller? Do they have to match? Do you like them to not match? You know, that kind of thing. So you learn what you like, and as your tastes evolve, as you evolve your decorating skills, it gets easier and easier, I think. And you don't have to think so hard about it, if that makes sense. As for like gardening, when I first started gardening, I knew absolutely nothing. My mom used to garden all the time, but I always thought it was stupid. But then I wanted to start doing plants, and then I started doing vegetables, and I kind of steamrolled from there. And then, like a couple of years ago, I was like, I still don't like my garden. I'm going to rip it all out. I'm going to start anew and only use the plants that I want, not just filler plants that they always tell me to use in all the books and stuff. And that's what I did. I kept only the flowers that I absolutely love. And now I love my garden. I absolutely love it. It is absolutely beautiful. It is not any way that any book would ever tell you to do. But for me, it works because I like it. I like every single plant in my garden. So to me, it's perfection. So that just goes to show that as you read on a certain subject, or as you grow your skills in a certain subject, it all comes down to personal taste. And that is what you as an individual need to focus on. Not so much focus on what other people are doing. It's nice to look at what other people are doing for inspiration and stuff. But when you recreate something that you liked in your own home, it's going to be different. And that's what makes it uniquely yours. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox now. So I don't know if that answers the question or not. But I guess a more simplified answer would be, as I tried new things like decorating, gardening, baking, sewing, my 4 core things that I like to do in life these days. In the beginning, I was not good at any of those. I had no clue what to do with any of those subjects. But as I learned, I grew more and more interested in it, and I wanted to try new, more and more things. So, and that is how it kind of progressed from, I wonder if I could do this, to, oh, I like this, maybe I'll keep doing more of this. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. I want to do this all the time, So it kind of turns from learning into something that you can do successfully, into something that it's like, I want to share this with the whole world. So, yeah, I guess that's how I would describe that. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm doing that question justice, but I'm going to leave it at that. So, all right, so that was the end of the Q&A. Thank you to everyone who sent in a question for me. I really appreciate it. So now it is time to go check out the photos that were sent in by viewers to share with you how they have used some of their thrifted finds. So keep watching. So first up today, we have this picture sent in by Sandra, and she found this hanging rack. And she also found this door, which she actually found free in the garbage, which is an awesome score. She also found the books, the candle holder, and the vase. Very nice display. She also found this very cute Precious Moments couple. I believe it's Precious Moments. They're very cute. And then in this photo, she thrifted the cute little bowls that are so neat. And then in this photo, she thrifted the chairs, the little bears, and the milk glass vases. And here she thrifted some milk glass plates, which she has nicely displayed. And then here is some more milk glass and an ironstone teapot, which is so adorable. And here she has a collection of her jadeite, which she has found over the years thrifting. She also thrifted this very cute shelf and this collection of baskets. Rachel found these shelves in the trash, if you can believe it. She gave them a paint job, and then she added the pegs, and she has styled them with mostly thrift store finds. The artwork, the vintage mirror, the basket, the hobnail milk glass votive, and the vintage Tim were all thrifted. I'm very much enjoying this little hanging basket full of flowers. I think it is so pretty. She also made this apron from a retro pattern and used a vintage napkin to add as an accent. Rachel also has a blog if you'd like to go check that out. I have her link up on the screen. Brenda sent me this photo, and I hope it's okay that I'm sharing it, Brenda, but she thought I would get a kick out of the fact that I have the matching print in my kitchen, which I thought was very cool. And she also distressed her frame, and she has it above a shelf in her home, and I think it turned out so cute. I love it so much. Karen sent in this photo, which is awesome. I love this area in her home. It is so cool. Everything in this area has been thrifted except for the shelves. The buffet was a Craigslist find, and she made the signs using thrifted frames. Lori sent in some photos to share with us of the area above her cabinets in her kitchen. And it looks like she's got some very fun things up here. I like the little chicken, and I love all the pops of red from the vintage tins. And then it looks like, oh my gosh, she's got lots of fun vintage stuff up there. Very nicely done. I like it a lot. Beth sent in this photo. She found a shutter at a garage sale along with 3 grapevine arches for $6. She used one of them, put it on top of the shutter, and then she repurposed some flowers from a wedding, and she now has it hanging on her front porch, and it's absolutely beautiful. She also sent in this photo of her mantle. The tall vintage cabinet doors were found for $15 each, and with the exception of the florals, the clock, and the small lantern, everything else has been thrifted. I am very much enjoying this display. I think it is absolutely lovely. Oh, and I almost forgot, her husband made the caddy for her, which she painted to make very cute. I love how it turned out. All right, so thank you to everyone who sent in a photo. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure everyone enjoyed your pictures. I know I did. So next week, what are we going to do for next week's Thrift Store Thursday? So I think next week is what I'm going to do is figure out my top 10 thrifted items, like furniture items, and I will share those with you. So I'll try to find before and after pictures, try to figure out if I can remember how much I paid for them. And then, of course, I would also love to continue to share photos that you guys send in of your thrifted finds and how you've used them. I think this is so much fun. So if you guys would like to submit a photo for next week, make sure you check out the description box on how to submit a photo, and I will make sure to share them next week. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're not already. And until next week, you guys, keep yourselves safe and happy. And I will see you again very soon for another Thrift Store Thursday. Bye now.